Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, recite you, reciting the records. Akashic, we laughing, we drafting the passion to vary. It's time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Consciousness is always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magicless, passing it. To top it off, the host, all the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers? What? All the answers.
All right, well, fucking Yeti and GarageBand and nightmares. I want to say formally for Desmond's purposes, I have not set up the arm you sent me, you generous beast. Here's what's funny about what happened with Desmond. Desmond sent me in the mail an arm that holds the Yeti microphone, right?
Mm-hmm. Like a swing arm thing, yeah.
Like that, yeah. I have that already.
Mm-hmm.
I already have that. So, in other words, we needed to have a conversation, I think, but he just sort of tried to solve it on his own without asking me anything.
So now you have two arms.
Now I have two arms and probably the same problems.
Well, now you can give him one back because you live very near him now.
That's true. Oh my God. I'm his neighbor now.
Yeah. Folks, friends, acquaintances, Katie Rubin is now a Californian once again. We got her back. How is the soul?
I have to tell you.
You do have to tell me. That's the deal. That's our deal.
That's what we do here. I feel like legit Dorothy who went to Oz and came back and went, oh, like I had to go to Oz, 4 Oz's, 3 Oz's.
The treasure was the friends you made along the way.
To come back, I want to show you, I've probably already sent you pictures, but I mean, the window here in the bedroom, in Eric's bedroom Chauncey's bedroom is like, it's on the bay. I'm looking at San Francisco and the bay. The breezes are stunning. It's everything. I can't even, it's so beautiful. I feel so heart-centered and happy to be here. I'm at peace. It feels very chill.
Is there enough room for your shit?
Okay, now. My shit is in storage. We took a carload of shit west. The rest of it is in a pod storage thing.
On the East Coast?
On the East Coast.
Oh.
So when the stuff comes back, there will be a reckoning. Although what's fun is Eric, I'm just going to call him Eric. That's his fucking name.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
The ship has sailed. Let's move along. Eric is really into let me back up. His condo is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath on the fucking bay on the Emeryville Marina that has been turned into, after years of living here, an extensive 2-bedroom, 2-bath man cave. That's what it is. And he's come on up. He's very man cavey as a person. Like he likes it dark, and he likes his tools, and he likes his technology
TV and the video games.
TV and the things. Okay. So everything is black and dark wood. And I'm just like, okay, we got to rehaul all of this, all of it. Now, weirdly, he's down. He's like, yeah, my place needs an upgrade. You're right. Also, you need to be happy here. And I want you happy. So let's do this. So there's like a whole, like, we're either going to be like fully redoing this place or leaving it or both. So we're in just like a whole talks. We've made a list of like everything I think needs to happen in here. And we just talk about it every day. We're just working with it.
Nice.
Kind of great, actually. Like everything that happened in the 3 years I went away got me ready for him and him ready for me. It's trippy.
Nice.
Like I'm different enough and he's different enough that it's like time. And we're like, let's collaborate. Let's be different individual weirdos who really dig each other and want to like figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Nice.
But like, let me just please, for just a moment, just for the listener, just to give hope to humanity, to the people of the world, America. Hear me now. You can go from being the most independent, I will never compromise anything, I have no desire to share space, get out of my space person, to wanting to collaborate and become a whole different being who's like, yeah, it's better when you're here. I love you, boo. And we're like kissing between sessions, and he works from home, I work from home. We like go high five each other and tell dick jokes. It's like weird to me that it's working.
Yeah.
That's what's weird. Like, I don't have a frame of reference for this kind of shit working. I have a frame of reference for a lot of drama and chaos and problems. So I'm just practicing receiving it and enjoying it. I find myself like in moments during the day when I would usually like go off and go away from, I just like go toward him and connect.
Nice.
Who knew that connection was like, good?
Was a good thing. I think you did, but you might have been hiding from that truth.
Well, that's the point, right? Is that you can cognitively know a thing and not be capable of receiving that thing in your heart, which is why we do the healing work we do to open the heart, become receptive, become ready, become relational when you're not. I was really really not a relational being. I was very much a spiritual being doing me, which I don't think is bad.
I thought you were going to say, I don't recommend, but
Right. I mean, I think it works until it doesn't, like anything else.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've definitely witnessed I love being able to witness change.
Yeah.
Like in all of us. I was just talking with a friend of ours who we'll probably end up talking more about by identifying them soon. You're going to hang out with them tomorrow, but I just thought I'd keep this one general until you'll think of it.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yeah. We just had the loveliest talk today because we're working together on some projects. And we were talking about like who we are now. We've known each other for fucking ever.
We're talking about
for 20 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We've known each other probably 20 years. Nice. Katie's getting down with some wine. You got a fizzy, you got wine. Do you have a coffee there too? I know you have a dog. The dog's a given.
Coffee, I finished. We're done with coffee for the day. It's 4:00. We're done.
Okay. Good call.
Carry on.
Anyway, but we both have witnessed change in each other, and we haven't seen each other in any kind of intimate conversational way for quite a while, but we've sort of witnessed each other. And, she listens to the podcast sometimes, and and we connected recently, and she was saying some just lovely things about my, like who I am now and how she actually would like to get some of that, and I was like,
aw.
And that was really touching to hear. But also I was like, yo, you are super different too. And the same. That's the key. It's like, you are still Katie and I have known you and I have loved you through all those stages.
Right.
Right. We've been friends for also close to 15 years, probably.
God. And
worked together and have, had affection for each other for a long time and also have been like, Jesus, what the fuck, Katie? And you've been, Jesus, fuck it, Cass, come on, get your, we have opinions about each other throughout, but we've also seen those changes.
Right.
And it's so cool to still love the person that they were, but also be like, oh God, I really also love the new you without some of those old things that you've healed or moved through.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
That's all. I'm being a little vague because, the conversation was personal.
I know just what you're saying. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to know that like you were a person who was individual only for you and you haven't changed, but you have totally changed.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I mean, my whole life has changed. Everything is change, all the time change. I mean, locations is the obvious whatever. Like I'm just not a person afraid of big changes, but it's interesting to look at. It's easy to change. Sometimes like the smaller things are harder to change. Like when you like looking at receiving intimacy and feeling safe in a relationship, that's like in a way a smaller thing physically than like moving your entire life to another location on the planet.
Yeah, but that's some deep spiritual transformation, probably bigger. Yeah.
That's my point, is that it can look, you can frame it like it's small, but it's really huge.
Right. Because it's the foundation of what you're actually going for on this path or in this 3D reality is the human connection. Sure, I could live in a different city or I could do all these huge things.
Yeah.
I could have big business or I could do a sweeping thing. But ultimately, for a lot of us, I wouldn't say for everybody on this time around, it's but how am I connecting to the other hearts around me?
Yeah, man. For real. But
getting better at that.
What I want to say though is, and this comes back to I'm always coming back, I know, to human design and just like if you look at my astrology, my south node is where you're coming from and north node is where you're going to in the lifetime. One lifetime, everybody has a south node and north node. Where I'm coming from is Aries, independent, masculine, directive, getting it done, breaking barriers, doing it on your own. Where am I going to? Libra. Connection, community, beauty, love, family, beauty, music, Like, so my path is that.
Yeah.
But some people, check this out. A good friend of mine who shall remain nameless, who's on the East Coast, has the opposite South and North node. Her South node is Libra. So she was all communal and friends and beauty and da-da-da. And now she has Aries North node. So her life is taking her to a much more independent, directive, action, So like, it depends. And it just depends. Now, I do think no matter what your South and North nodes are, I do think having the ability to connect with people is big. Like, you got to be able to fucking connect with people. Yeah, totally. So, and I wouldn't trade it for a second. It is interesting to look at. Like, it's hard to ignore. Like, wow, that is written down by people who've never met me before. There it is.
Hold on 1 second. I might melt, so I'm going to open the door to this toxic greenhouse.
I should probably do the same. I'm going to turn my fan. Okay, Squeezer, we got to get up and turn the fan. I know, it's terrible news. It's going to be okay. Let's do it. I'm sorry for all the background noises, Desmond. I'm so sorry, Desmond.
Oh, goody. A fan.
By the way, Cassidy, Jamal, Jackson, Malcolm, Jamal, Warner Brown.
Yes.
When are we meeting at Bardo?
Oh, the drinks place?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
That's where I'd like to meet you.
I know. I'm drinking so little nowadays.
Rock on.
I mean, I can.
Me too.
I do it occasionally, but it's a special treat now. Yeah. Now it's not like, cool, I have whiskey, I'll just drink some. Now it's like, is this a good whiskey? Is this worth it's like, people say, is this worth the carbs? But it's like, is this worth the
hangover, exhaustion,
the potential hangover, or just the fact that I'm poisoning my body a tiny bit? Like, exactly. I'm titrating that poison.
1,000,000%. I know. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's meet at Bardo and have appetizers or water.
Oh, we can do that because you're here in the Bay Area now.
I live where you live, motherfucker.
Maybe we'll see each other's face soon.
We're going to tape a podcast in person soon, I think.
Yes, I believe so. We're going to share a bit of feedback you got about our dynamic. And I'm super curious what you have to say. I'll try not to be defensive.
All right, got to try hard. Soften that heart. I just heard from 2 people in 1 week.
Yeah.
This is how it was presented to me. First person said, does it bother you that Cassidy interrupts you all the time?
Huh.
I'm going to pause there.
Okay.
I have many thoughts about this, and I will tell you what I said to them. And then the other person said, I always want you to finish your thought, but then Cassidy's talking. And I like what he says, but you never get to finish your thought. And I was like, twice.
Huh.
Now, let's pause.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be, I don't know what the word is. It's titrated back to some kind of middle ground. I have had a journey. This is, I think, the reason I bring this up is not just to be like, Cassidy, stop interrupting me. Because I feel actually quite different about this than I used to.
Yeah. Over
the course of the podcast. I remembered you and I had a few talks at the beginning where I was like, hey, can we talk directly about a thing that's hard for me? And I feel like I just started talking. And then I got feedback from some people that like, they felt like I was always trying to push my way into talking. And I was like, well, I'm doing that because I feel interrupted all the time. I feel like I have to do that. Anyway, you and I talked about it and it changed a little for a while. Then it went right back. So that in my experience.
Yeah.
So then I decided, hold on, let me look at his chart and look at my chart. This is a thing I did without talking to you about it.
That's fine. You have permission to look at my chart.
I have permission also to like think about stuff in my own time. Yeah, no, but thank you. So I remember you have manifestor channels, and what that means is you have channels directly from your emotional center right up to your throat, and you have another one on the other side from, I think it's from your splenic to your throat. So in other words, for you, according to your chart, when you have a feeling, it goes right to your throat. You're like feeling talk. It's right there. And then when you have an intuition or a sense of like what's healthy, what's true, what's right, boom, right to the throat. Like intuition talk.
Yeah.
And then I looked at mine and I saw that you do compromise me on a couple places like that. Like human design, what that means, compromise channels. That means no matter what you do, humans, all humans, when you have a compromise channel with someone, if you're the one being compromised, you're pretty much just going to be compromised. You're just going to be compromised by that person in that way.
What does that mean?
It means, well, let me finish. I'll finish the thought and then I'll come back and say that because I think by finishing the thought, it'll answer it. So then I looked at my own chart and I was like, let's remember my not self themes. what are my not self themes? Now, remember, listener, a not self theme has to do with everywhere you have an open center in your chart, not a defined center, open center. There's 9 centers in the body. There is a not self theme to each open center. That means when you're functioning from or making choices from or having reactions from the not self theme of the open center that you're in that moment, you will have frustration. If you're a generator, you will have anger. If you're a manifester, you will have the opposite of success if you're a projector, and so on and so forth. So I looked at my own chart, and then I looked at our charts together. And what I remembered was I have open ego. And open ego is, the not self theme of the open ego is when I feel hurt, envy, or lack, I get busy trying to prove I have worth and value. So I took my own inventory and I went, when Cassidy talks over me, or when he talks mid my thought, I think he's like, my first reaction is, he thinks I have no value. So I'm going to prove I have value by pushing back and talking on top of him. And that got real exhausting. Now, listener, hear me now. I could easily keep pushing to show Cassidy he should stop being who he is because he's bad and wrong for having manifestor channels from his emotional body right to his mouth and his intuition right to his mouth. But I know better than that. Cassidy is not bad and wrong for having manifestor channels. He's Cassidy for having manifestor channels. I need to practice. You know what? Remember the freedom. So when you look at the not self theme of any open center, the open ego, prove I have worth and value. The freedom would be, how do I have more freedom and less frustration as a generator with an open ego? The answer is, I'm free to give up. Give up. Give up what? Give up the fight. Give up the need to prove I have worth and value. So in our dynamics, since I did this like months and months and months ago. I just stopped fighting it. I just was like, oh, anytime he does that, it's his manifestor channels needing to express. And what I do is I hold on to the nugget of truth that I think is useful that I have to share. And I just wait until you're done talking.
Right.
Imagine that. And then when you're done talking, I go I evaluate internally. I go, is this still useful to say? Or did we cover it already? Because if I'm actually not coming from the need to prove that I have worth and value, because I know us well enough. I know you value me. I know that. And I also know that just in and of myself, I have value. I value myself. I feel very valuable. So it became easier to just not need to prove I have worth and value by interrupting you and asking you to have a talk about it and whatever. I've seen your chart. I know what's going on. I don't care. So then I just wait. Now, if I just wait and let you have your moment, who cares? Because at the end, I'll go, cool, I hear what you're saying. Here's another thought. I just have to wait. I just have to be patient enough to I don't have to take it personally. In other words, I don't have to think I have no worth and value because Cassidy's talking when I would like to be talking. So anyway, it was a big deal for me to realize just let it go. Just give up. Don't fight that fight. Just give it up. Okay, give it up. Listening. Oh, I'm hearing him. What a good point he's making. Then you finish talking and I go, do I still need to say that thing? I do. And then I say it. Or do I still need to say that thing? I don't. And then I don't say it. There's no actual problem unless I don't know my design and I'm reacting from the not self theme of my open centers. So all of this to say, when 2 people in 1 week said to me, does it bother you essentially that he interrupts you a lot? I thought, wow, what a cool journey I've been on that I've gotten to. No, it fucking doesn't.
Yeah. Because
in his mind, I know you. I know your heart and I know your intentions and I love you. And I know you're a good man. I know you're not over there going let me shut this woman down.
No.
Because I know this. And they're the people who, I'll just say this, the people who said this to me are people who have a little bit of an agenda.
Right.
Womanness.
Yeah.
So they're experiencing you talking if I mid my sentence as shut the woman down. My framework is human design. So I go, no, that's just manifestor channels doing manifestor channel things. It has nothing to do with me being a woman. Now that's a charged thing to say in this political climate we're in right now. As a woman, I should be saying, don't you interrupt me, right? But that is the judgment of a fear-based philosophy. I don't like to function from judgment or fear. I like to function from conscious awareness. So anyway, I bring it up in part to bring it up But I also bring it up in part to show people as we're talking and people are listening, this is the value of understanding your chart. Understanding your chart is not an abstract thing for funsies, although it is fun and it is abstract sometimes. It's also quite practical. I have total freedom now from being triggered by Cassidy being Cassidy. Has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the fucking way he's made up. And it's not about me. And it's not even bad. It's just a thing occurring. I
can still be conscious of behavior and decide via free will whether I want to engage in that behavior. But to a certain extent, I still have to follow my own path to a certain also.
Yes.
Here's what came up during, thinking about all that and hearing what you were just saying. So I was inspecting like, okay, well, why am I doing that? In addition to, well, obviously, because I also am an individual that isn't just at the whim of my chart, right?
Of course. You have free will.
I have free will. And I'm like, okay, what's that about? And this goes to a conversation I was having earlier today, actually, about putting periods on sentences. After about 2 minutes of a good monologue, 2 or 3 minutes of a good monologue, like we just had from you, and I was listening, but there was a little bit of a tape running, like that was actually about 5 minutes, right?
Okay.
And so there wasn't there was a chunk of time, and this isn't just you, this is me with a lot of people.
Yes.
There'll reach a certain point where I was like, I'd like to be in this conversation.
Yes.
I've now been listening for a good 3-4 minutes. And
right.
And I think for the most part, I go on for about 1.5 minutes at any given time. I'll interrupt you, talk for a minute, and then we'll return because it is, you have more of the wisdom to impart and more of the channeling to share. So as far as the overall weight of words, bulk of words,
okay,
it's on your end for sure. There's no question.
Okay.
Like I'd say 70-30, or possibly, and that's right and correct in the context of the thing. But I do know that and I'm thinking about this in the terms of the chart and even the thing you said about like, my heart wants to speak now or it wants to speak now because it would like to be in this conversation.
Yes.
And then I start running an impatient tape of like,
got it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I guess she's not going to put a period on her sentence. So I'll just wait. And that's judgmental bullshit that is mine to deal with.
Sure.
That I need to look at. But that's one of the tapes that can run.
I understand.
Yeah. I deal with that with my clients all the time where they'll start telling me about something and I'll be like, nope, you're still telling me? Cool.
Yeah.
Nope. I got the thing for you whenever you're ready for me to, okay. Yeah. No, you're still talking.
Yeah.
And that's actually something I teach my clients is I say, practice putting periods on your sentences and then look at that sentence and decide if you need to say more. Mm-hmm. And I also try and do that myself, which I fail at utterly sometimes.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like everything I said to you needed to be said. And then I stopped talking and started listening to you.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm going, it's not about a time limit. It's about as long as I feel complete in having said what I needed to say, I'm ready to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But I don't have a time. I'm not like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. I don't have to me, it's more about, let me get the complete thought out. You know what I mean?
I do. And I think that is also a structural thing of people. I've come across this in other conversation things with other people too, of like wanting to say everything before moving on rather than say a piece, get some back and forth, which is a different form of interchange.
Right.
And you, when interrupted in that flow, feel interrupted.
Right.
And some people hear you as feeling interrupted. And that's possibly them hearing me as a man interrupting you, but they're also probably hearing or sensing your own reaction to that. And so they're experiencing it as interruption.
Or not even that, or they're projecting their own sense of, me, the listener, would feel interrupted.
Yeah.
I don't actually, but what I'm trying to say to you is, I'm not having a lot of frustration with your interruptions. I'm not having that a lot.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to feel from me.
Right.
It's their own thing projected onto what we're doing.
Yeah. And I bring up mine for the same reason of being like, oh, because it just came up today. And I'm sort of bringing those two pieces together to be like, oh, my own impatience. So that's, in the same way that you've looked at where being interrupted or quote being interrupted felt for you.
Yeah.
So for me, what is it that I need to inspect of waiting until someone is done with their thought?
Right. However, and I just wonder, like, I don't have an answer to this. I really don't. I guess the whole thrust of what I was trying to say to you was sometimes we don't even need to examine it. It's like, if you really understood your design.
Yes.
And had no judgment of you, then we both would understand. We don't have to frame it as interruption. We can frame it as like, there's the manifestor channel operating. Now, to your point, though, it's not like the whole world has this framework. So like,
no, most people aren't doing this work.
So if the impact, right, how we talk about, we train people in coaching situations, the difference between intent and impact.
Yeah.
Right. If the impact is that the other feels interrupted upon, then the intent sort of doesn't matter to them, to that person.
Yes.
Unless you can have a conversation like this and you can be someone like myself who's willing to see their own stuff and go, oh, okay, look at that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to prove I have worth and value by like pushing back when he cuts me up. The whole thing, I just want to say to the listener, if you have open ego, please consider this option. You don't have to do anything I fucking say. Who the fuck am I? I'm some clown in the goddamn East Bay now with a dog on my lap and a glass of wine. But you might consider, how much more peace would you have if you just gave up the fight? What is the fight you're fighting, open ego people, that if you gave it up would bring you so much more fucking peace than you have by trying to prove your worth and value? Like, I can't emphasize it enough, the freedom that comes from it. I don't know. It's very freedom inducing. So that's all.
Well, there's a lot more to say on this topic, but I just got a text from, yes. So we should get her in here. She's been waiting.
I know. I saw her come in and I was like, we're going to keep talking.
Yeah.
Hi, baby. Put your little face in my armpit. That's cute.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Rami. I am currently in a bathtub in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. But I'm still thinking about my time in Vermont, where I did this musical. That the process of creating the musical was really difficult for everyone involved. It was difficult for everyone involved. Nobody won except for the audience. The audience won. We made a beautiful thing. But wouldn't it have been great if we had had a good process making the thing, right? We were giving the audience this beautiful, beautiful gift, but we had a terrible time creating the gift. And the audience ended up having a very deep, a profound spiritual and emotional experience. We really gave them that. But isn't that funny that you can not experience that yourself when making the thing and still give that thing? It's so bizarre. But also, wouldn't it have been better and deeper and more profound and more of a gift if the making had been as wonderful as the art that we created, right? If we had gotten to give ourselves that gift, if we had gotten to be in a positive experience that was communal and supportive and everything, then the conjuring would have been even more powerful. And maybe the audience would have experienced the same gift, but something would have been better. Something unnameable would have been deeper and more moving to them. Rami's rules.
Yes, there we go.
Oh my God.
I'm in bed.
Nice.
Yeah. Fucking yes, you are.
Luxury, baby.
Okay, the hair is coiffed, the glasses are cool, the bed frame is sexy. What is happening?
The armpits are stinky.
Are they? Is it sweaty in your place?
No, I'm showering, really.
Uh-oh. Do we need to do a moment?
Call somebody? Should we call someone? Are you
Probably.
okay?
I'm
Yeah.
okay. I'm okay.
This is actually, this podcast is you calling someone. This is you calling
This
us.
is me. Yes.
And we're helping.
Give me all the answers. I've actually been spraying magnesium on my armpits lately.
Girl, that's a good move. That's funny you say that because regularly, so I teach, 2 group healing classes where we do these big fucking light transmissions that are all fucking high, whatever the fuck.
All that bullshit.
They're intense on the body, man. They're intense for me. They're intense for the client. It's intense. 9 times out of 10, when we finish, as I'm closing the records of the group, the record keepers are like, tell them all to have magnesium today. And I'm like, that's so particular and specific, but they talk about a lot that like in the human form, magnesium and sugar are the 2 things we lose the most in the brain when we're doing transformational healing work. Like you really burn a lot of sugar and you burn a lot of salt. And you need it back. And magnesium is the best way to get it back potently without like eating a bunch of potato chips, say.
Yeah.
So you're fucking on it, homie.
I'm on it. I'm also doing the Celtic salt on my tongue before drinking water.
Oh, how's
It's
that?
it's a lot of TikTok magic.
Oh, Fontana Butterfield, ladies and gentlemen. She's fucking here right now. It's happening.
She's with us.
Can you believe it?
3rd time's a charm.
Is this your 3rd time live?
Yeah.
You were one of our very early guests during.
First guest.
Were you first live guest?
First guest.
First live guest. Oh, right. And then 100th guest or whatever it was. And now, just because we love you and wanted to talk to you about some shit that was going on.
Yeah. Big shit.
Okay, so Fontana and I were talking. Big shit. Fontana's in a transition. I think that's fair to say.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking, as homies do. And I was like,
Because you live in my land now.
because I live in your motherfucking coast right now. We have big lady plans to float down a river soon.
Big lady.
I'm ready. Let's fucking go to that Russian river and float on it.
Yes, baby.
Here's my only fear about floating on the Russian river. I feel like it's going to be cold ass water. What do you think?
It's all good. It's all good. It's all part of it.
That's not
It's
a
not an
reassuring
answer.
answer.
No, that doesn't help me in any
It's
way.
not like the ocean. It's not like the fucking Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
It's not?
No, because it's moving and there's sun beating down on it. And you're not actually deep in the water unless you fall in. I don't know. I'm just making words up.
You know what I'll do? I'll wear my wetsuit.
That'll do it.
Here we go. I have a wetsuit too.
Double wetsuit in it. We're going to drink wine, wear wetsuits, and go down in an inner tube in the Russian River.
Well, then you can just piss and no one will really know.
Okay, let me ask, to that point, let me ask you guys a question. Somebody said to me the other day,
Uh-oh.
I was in the bathtub. I'm trying to think of who this was. And then I had to pee. So I got up and peed in the toilet and then came back.
That seems valid.
Okay, that is
If you're in the tub,
never
not the shower,
never once have I done that. I just pee.
in the tub
Here's what I'm thinking.
that you are soaking in. Let me just be clear. That's the tub that you're soaking in. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure our terms were strong.
Here's my logic. It's a very large tub full of a lot of water. It's deep. I'm soaking in it.
It's your pee.
It's my pee. It's a little bit of pee compared to how much water there is. How bad can it be?
I don't know how much you're peeing. I feel like
I mean,
some people pee like a good.
Doesn't she pee all the time though?
Are you peeing multiple times in that same bath?
a single time.
Single time.
And is it just like a little psst and you're done? Or is it like a.
No, it's a good longin'.
Yeah. That Fontana?
I say
You're going, I feel you. You're going with no, Cass.
I'm
Fontana?
going with you do you. I mean, there are many cultures that they drink their own pee. They sit in their pee. The doctor looks at your pee.
It's on the inside. It's the outside.
I think I understand if anybody listening thinks that's horribly disgusting. I respect you. I appreciate you. I hear you. I happen to think like if you look at the number of, oh my God, it's 4:44. It's the angel time. Oh my God, we're going to read about this. Of course it is. Fontana's here. She's an angelic being.
I'm seeing it constantly.
The force?
All the numbers.
Oh, we need to talk. We're going to talk about this. Okay. But anyway, I hear you. But if you look at percentage of pee to percentage of water in the tub, I think everybody's going to be fine.
You can justify this for a long time.
You do you is true.
Yeah.
And I also have no problem with pee. Like, get a little pee. I mean, it's not a big deal, but I wash it off. Like, are you rinsing off when you get out of the tub?
Well, the whole tub experience is a rinsing procedure.
Yeah, but you've now rinsed in urine.
But there's soap and lots of water.
Yeah, there's
rinsing the same vagina.
But that pee has now inculcated throughout the water. The water is now slightly tinged yellow.
But how many parts pee to parts water are we talking?
Probably less than a pool.
Touche.
Fair enough. Listen to this.
Man, that's other people's pee.
Yeah.
Listen to this about the four.
But then I shower after I get out of the pool.
That's fair. Listen to this about the fours. The frequency of the four brings angelic healing, divine order, and an influx of energy to the physical plane. It is a get things done energy, which can help you materialize desires, which is literally what you're here for today. More than 1 4 in a row, we just had 3 of them, means the angels are speaking to you. Call upon their loving assistance to help you manifest your divine destiny.
Yeah, baby. All into it.
Destiny.
Okay, so Fontana Butterfield, actor, improviser, runner of companies that use improv to empower corporate folks, mom, partner, amazing human female person, mammal, upright, bipedal person, Bay Area resident, finder of amazing housing in San Francisco, which is hard to do. That's this bitch, everybody, in case you haven't heard her before. Now, tell the audience in your words what's happening with you, because I have been looking at your chart before we all got on here, and I have some shit to say, and I'm excited about it, but I want everybody to have context.
Yes, I am so excited about it too. So I had my dream job where I was being paid a living wage and had learned so much and had so much love and respect for my work, and got to hire my dear, dear friends who are amazing, who make me look good.
Including us, 2 humans here.
The 2 of you, yes. And it was hard work, and I was definitely very burnt out. And I kept thinking, okay, as soon as I take my vacation, as soon as this is figured out. So even though it was a dream job, it was definitely very stressful. I think because I put my DNA into it. Like I feel so connected to all of them. Best friends are working there. One of my dearest friends had to tell me I was let go. And I felt like I was being broken up with. Someone died and I lost my job at the same time. I've lost 2 parents, Katie Rubin, and I have never cried this hard in my life. It was like earth shattering.
Yeah.
It was really, really intense. And now I'm at a point with a lot of things that have happened, mostly from hearing from people about my impact and how valuable I am as a human being, which, in a few days I was like, I am crap. And who do you think you are? And all of that. And I could not stop it, but it was the process. But my cup keeps getting filled up by beautiful people that I respect, including you. And I think I'm so much happier not being at that company right now. And I may join it again at some point when the money's come in. And I've always been terrified of being a leader. Open my own theater company. I could never do that, right? Own my own whatever. But this is the first time in my life where I'm like, hell yeah, I should totally start my own business, and I'm not afraid of it. And I was eager to update my website. Like, that's a sign.
I mean, that's a miracle on earth.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
So it feels...
You had motivation.
Mm-hmm. And it feels very divine. And after the conversation that I had with you, and I peeked at my human design chart very briefly, and everything that I heard so far on the very surface level was like, oh my God, that's me. And I've learned so much in the past few years about following my sacral and all of that. So coming into alignment, and y'all are a huge part of it, because your podcast has been a great healing agent for me.
You're the goddamn best.
You are the best. It has been a great healing agent for me as well, and I believe for Katie as well.
Oh my God, for all of us. Are you kidding?
Yeah, y'all are even more delightful to be with than you were years ago. I just want you to know that.
It just happened.
We were just talking about this.
It always happens.
You did it. You did it, Fontana. She knows the phenomenon.
We were talking about the past and the present, people, like who we were and who we are and how we're the same but totally different.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm looking at your chart. We're going to pull it up. So for the listener, I'm going to share the screen with y'all so you can, Fontana, you can see this. But, and Cass, you can see it, obviously. For the listener, part of what Fontana and I were talking, so the job thing happened, and then we've been bonding and talking about it. And then I moved here, and it's all nice timing. And I was like, we need to look at your chart again because I just need to look at it again. And I need to be reminded of things. And I want to share with you what I think would be relevant. And I thought it would be great to do this here it's always good to look at a chart and talk about the details of a chart so other people who have similar charts can understand. So I'm going to dive in. Unless anybody else has anything else we want to add before I start blah, blah, blahing.
I'm going to change the name to not my wife's name.
Oh, on
the screen.
On the screen, the Zoom.
Like, that is not my name.
Yeah.
That's all right. No one sees this, so it's okay.
I just, it might confuse the records or whatever.
Yeah. Because they check the tape. They're like, hold on, let me check the tape. Wait a minute.
That wasn't. So there's a couple things I take that are glaring to me when I look at a chart like this, or when I look at this chart. First of all, we have to understand, as you just very aptly said, you have sacral authority. Let's remind everybody listening and Fontana what sacral authority means. This is the sacral center here, the little red triangle that is second square from the bottom of anybody's chart, if you're looking at your chart. When it's defined, and specifically when it's your authority, okay, so when it's defined, that makes you a generator or a manifesting generator. Both generators and manifesting generators have sacral definition, meaning that square is colored in. But when you have sacral authority, like you have, that means the decisions, the yeses and nos for you are a gut level thing. They're not the heart, and they're not the mind, of course. It's never the mind. They're not even necessarily intuition. They're gut. They're in the body, in the sacral center, and they go, or or Another way we talk about this in human design is we say, I have energy for this, or I don't have energy for this. Simple, simple, simple. Do I have energy for it? Do it. Do I not? I don't have energy for that. I'm dragging myself through it. I should do it, but I don't want to. I don't have any energy for it in my body. That is not correct for a sacral being, such as yourself. You get that?
Big time.
Now, what makes it interesting in your chart that makes it, you have a dynamic chart, is you do have definition in the G center, which is this guy right in the center of the chart. For anybody else listening, the square that is on its side that is yellow, right in the middle of the center of the body graph, you have definition there. And if we come down to the left, the brown triangle to the bottom left of the design, that's called the spleen or the splenic center. Because you have definition in the G and in the spleen, you are going to have splenically strong intuitive senses of what is correct and healthy for you. What is correct and healthy for me? The spleen that is defined knows. So intuition, as it's taught in the world, is really a splenic function. But people in the world say, just trust your intuition, which I say, well, not unless you have fucking definition in your spleen. If you don't have definition in your spleen, intuition can be irrelevant to you. Sacral definition would be relevant, emotional definition, whatever it might be, depending on your chart. But in your case, you do have splenic definition, which means you do have a strong sense of what is healthy for Fontana. Keep in mind, splenic definition also has to do with the five senses. It's a center that has to do with sight, smell, hearing, taste, touch, sound. It's like, this doesn't smell right to me. This doesn't sound right. This doesn't taste good, metaphorically and literally. So your senses matter a lot in terms of you deciding stuff. And your metaphoric senses matter a lot. You walk into a building, you're working with clients, and you're like, this doesn't smell right to me. You can trust that. It isn't right. Something's off. Somebody needs to talk to somebody, or something needs to shift. But at the end of the day, in terms of making the decision, we would always advise someone with this kind of chart to go like, do I have energy for it or not? Okay, because that's the sacral authority. Remember, everybody listening, in human design, we say, you follow your strategy and your authority, and that's the bottom line of everything. So Fontana's strategy is respond to life and listen to that or that she gets in her gut. Everything else is machinations of the mind, machinations of the emotions, not They're relevant to your reality, but they're not where to make a decision from. If Fontana wants satisfaction, why is that relevant? She's a generator, so she's here to have satisfaction in her life. She's not here to be frustrated. When she's frustrated, we know she's made a choice that goes against her sacral authority. Now, if you're listening and you're a generator who doesn't have sacral authority and you feel frustrated, that's because you've gone against your authority, whatever kind of authority you happen to have. Fontana has sacral authority. Not all generators have that.
Wow.
Questions, thoughts?
Just this, I mean, everything that you're saying, I'm just thinking of all of the examples of this when I've done it and it turned out, and when I didn't do it and I was, it's that, or didn't get to help that person enough.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Okay, so coming back to this fact that you have this definition in the G center, 8 thoughts at once. I'll come back to 8 thoughts, starting with 1. The G center is the center of passion, what we love, what we hate, and identity. So it's passion and identity. Or you could say, what do I love, what do I hate, and identity. It's all located in the G. Now, if you're listening out there and you have no definition in the G center, that means the question, what is my passion, is irrelevant to you. Do not waste your time asking, what is my passion? What do I love? What do I hate? You don't know. It will be inconsistent. It's a waste of energy and it's a distraction. For you people, follow strategy and authority. But for Fontana, you have definition here in the G. So for you, there are very specific things you love and very specific things you do not love. And you have a strong sense of these sets of things are me and these sets of things are not me. It's what we call identity. Okay. So the weird thing about having a bunch of definition, in one's chart is you're navigating the values of your G center. What do I love? What do I have passion for? What feels like me? And at the same time, what does my gut say yes to? What do I have energy for? Sometimes in your case, that's going to be confusing because you have split definition. What does that mean? Look up here. If you see G center connected by this channel to throat, connected by this channel to the ajna. So this right here is a little island of definition. These 3 centers are all connected by this channel and this channel. Notice this whole island here is disconnected from this island. So your sacral is connected by this channel to your spleen, intuition, what's healthy for me. Your spleen is connected by this channel to your root, your get up and go, your make it happen energy. This is a little island of definition that can all hear each other. But this whole fucking island down here, sacral to spleen to root, is disconnected. Ain't no channels connecting your G to your throat to your ajna. So it can feel like there's 2 cats in a bag inside of you. There's what I love and what I know how to say about it and what I think about it. That's one cat. The other cat is, what do I have energy for? What's healthy for me and what gets me going? Cat number 2.
How are you inside my soul?
So how do we get the cats to collaborate? You need another human being. Oh no. To bridge your split in order for certain things to come together and happen in 3D reality. Now let's pause for a minute and ponder this. Let us all take best friend of the podcast, Rami Margron, as an example for the opposite of this. Rami Margron, who we all know and love, hi Rami, what's up bitch, happens to have single definition, meaning all of the centers in Rami's chart that are defined are connected to each other through channels, which means in order for Rami to fulfill their destiny, they do not need other human mammals to show up in their field and complete a thing and bridge a split so they can make a thing happen. They can just go out and do stuff and it happens.
That makes so much sense knowing them.
Right?
Yeah.
So people with split definition or triple split definition literally need another mammal, another human mammal in their aura to bridge the split in order for certain things to move forward. It will never move forward until somebody bridges your split. Isn't that interesting?
So interesting. And this is exactly how I work best, is when I have a partner to collaborate on stuff. So when I was working, I was always pulling people into, I need to show this to you. What do you think? And vice versa. Yeah, 100%. Totally get that.
Katie, are you single or?
I'm split.
Or split. You're split. Interesting. I would not have predicted that.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you might have even been in conflict with your own thing for a while?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Trying so hard to be single definition.
Yeah.
And I'm single definition, which I also don't believe.
Huh. You are?
I just was looking.
Let's look.
You've got me there somewhere. I've got it on my phone. So,
Well, there you have it.
yeah, definition, single.
Now, but let's talk about this, because what part of what may make you not be believing it as much might be the fact that you have a bunch of communal or collective channels.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So because your channels are in the collective circuit, it makes you be someone who needs to collaborate for your fulfillment and satisfaction.
But not necessarily for my effectiveness.
Correct. You can go out there and get it done. You don't need somebody to bridge your split. You just make it happen. Will you be satisfied? I don't know. I have to look at your chart.
Okay. But back to Fontana. I just thought I don't think I'd ever really heard the single split defined that way. And so that's fascinating. And also to hear that you are split definition is.
Yeah. And what I'm responding to, knowing Katie and having listened to my every single podcast, is you're always so good at getting people to help you with the parts that you're like, I don't want to do that part. I'm going to hire out, or I'm going to collaborate. I mean, that's what I hear that reminds me of this, of you and I having that similar thing, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's just certain things that, like, I have this assistant, this wonderful woman, and I do it because I got to a place where I was like, I cannot do, these things need to occur for my business to exist. I have no energy to do them. So I've got to hire someone to do it, or they'll never happen. Now, I sat on that for probably 5 years. I wasn't ready to hire someone for a long ass time. And I had all the normal reactions people have to that. How do you pay for it? And am I worthy? And that sounds so bougie, and whatever judgments you have of that. I finally was like, fuck it. If I'm going to keep this business alive, I need somebody to do all this shit I have no energy for. So yes, to your point. Exactly. I literally can't do what I do without her. I can't do it. I tell her all the time. I'm like, do you know that you do this whole business? I'm just some lady who channels light. You're doing all of this. And she's like, Katie, you're silly. We're a good team. It's that's split definition. Yeah. Okay. So.
And it's just such it's a relief to hear these things, right? Such a relief. Like, how come you can't? What's wrong with you? Other people do. Good Lord, lady.
Right? The judgment. It's like, well, you're just not built that way. You're meant to be collaborating. And look at the podcast. The podcast has been going a long ass time because Cassidy and I do it together. I couldn't do it on my own. I wouldn't want to. I'd be so fucking bored and I'd be empty. I wouldn't have this. So the next two things that I think are most relevant for you to see, Fontana, in terms of being in this transition moment are, there's three things I really want to hit before we stop talking today. One is you have the right angle cross of tension. So what is the incarnation cross? The incarnation cross in human design it speaks to what does your day-to-day life look like when you're functioning correctly as yourself? What is Fontana's day filled with in a very grounded, real 3D life way? And this one's really interesting, okay? You have the right angle cross of tension 2. So let's read what that means. Right angle cross of tension 2. You were born with a gift to push people's buttons. While this can create some negative reactions, the goal of the provocation is to find the right spirit in the reaction. Those who you provoke are given a gift as they have an opportunity to work on whatever you have provoked within them. They may not always see it that way, though, so be forewarned. Your purpose is to create tension, which causes a reaction, typically in the form of a tirade or emotional expression. From that reaction come the seeds of information that through analysis can lead to the other finding an emotional path to spirit.
You're welcome.
Doesn't that seem true?
I've had some of these conversations lately. Yeah. Mostly about like white supremacy and patriarchy.
Well, I'll tell you a way this has happened for you and me, that you've brought me closer to spirit just by being you. You know, our whole joke where you're like, you want to hug me and kiss me all the time. And I'm like, get off my body.
And I want to get into your neck space.
I'm just like, because it bothered me so much, I know enough to know, like, if it's bothering me that much, there's something in this for me. And it provoked a bunch of work I did on fear of intimacy and closeness. Yeah. And also my relationship with Chauncey, aka Eric, has done the same for me. Like, he's such a lover, and I was so like push-pull with him that I really had to, in the end, look at, what is the push? Why am I pushing away all this love trying to come at me? And so clearing and clearing and clearing, and it's brought me to here I am living happily in his house. What? Never thought I could do that. What is happening? So you've been a part of that for me. Because I always look at myself and I'm like, why am I so like, get off me? Fontana's just like one of my besties and I don't want her to kiss my face. Why? So here you are being the right angle cross of tension.
I love it.
I can totally see that. Like, I hope to never find out that certain people have that and that they find out that they have it. Like people who are like professional devil's advocates. What? I'm just here to push you, man.
Oh, right.
Ugh, that's my least favorite of all things. I'm just playing. My mother used to do that. I'm just devil's advocate.
Just playing devil's advocate. Or comedians who are like, it's my job to like,
push,
point things out and push your buttons so that you can da-da-da. But also our triggers are our friends. They show us where we need to grow. So I want this to be in the hands of someone like Fontana, which it clearly is. So that's my point.
Well, and what's cool about it is that when it's your incarnation cross, there's nothing Fontana can do about it because it's in her aura to happen. It will always happen according to this system. There's no not not happening. Whereas someone like that can sort of grow up and realize like, okay, I'm doing this obnoxious thing. Let me stop. Now, if they happen to have this incarnation cross, that's a different story. In that case, they don't have to do a joke and a bit that's designed to push your buttons. Just by standing near them, your buttons will be pushed.
Gotcha.
And Cassidy, this reminds me of something you mentioned in the last podcast about how you treat your coachees, right? The people that you coach, like this ritual, and this is a gift for the rest of your life. Like, I feel like so much of what we do well in those coachings, all three of us, is to really mirror what someone's going through and what they're doing, and to tell them the truth about their habits, or this is what I notice about you. So I think that's how I push, is like, this is happening and I'm going to notice it for you so that you can know you can work on it, or just know, just to know.
But also what human design would say is whether you could just eat a sandwich silently near a person and they would be like activated by your presence.
Could you chew louder because it's too quiet? The way you're chewing is just too quiet.
I have to say that this really hit me when I was living in LA, but it happens up here too, where I feel like people look at me when I enter spaces as if like, who is that? And I used to think, oh, they think that I look like a movie star, or they think that I'm famous because the way I walk in and I have my confidence and my Linklater and Alexander technique training, right? But I wonder if it's something like that. Like,
well, okay, now you're speaking. Now you got it. That's interesting because the generator is known to have a warm, inclusive, enveloping aura.
How many times have I been told that?
Let's monetize that.
No, I'm so sorry for making a joke. That was really beautiful.
No, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, no, it just happens to be what is in this design. Like, it's gonna happen, and it's something to be aware of so we can judge ourselves less, like everything else in the chart. Your purpose is to create tension, which causes a reaction, typically in the form of a tirade or emotional expression. From that reaction come the seeds of information that, through analysis, can lead to the other finding an emotional path to spirit. Mm-hmm. It's literally what your field has done for me. Now, I need to say two more things, and then we have about 15 minutes left here. So we want to look at your profile, the 3-5, and we want to understand this right here in particular for you. You have solar plexus with completely no definition and no gates hanging off of it. So interestingly, your life, this lifetime, has nothing to do with the solar plexus. And the solar plexus is about emotions. So you are not and here to be listening to, there's no wisdom for you in the emotional body. There's wisdom in the gut. The gut knows, but the emotions are going to be very varied, inconsistent, all over the place, wild, not defined, basically. receptive, now, when you have open solar plexus, what does this mean? It means you are going to amplify just by standing near them, not through your personality, not through your words that you say, just by standing near people. Your aura organically amplifies the emotions of the defined emotional people around you. So anyone who has definition in the solar plexus who's hanging out near you is going to feel their feelings more in your presence. And you are going to feel their feelings more in their presence. And together, their feelings are going to be real big in the field of you and them. And what's useful to understand about that for you is none of it is yours. Another thing to be aware of with open solar plexus is the not self theme is very much conflict avoidance. Remember, each open center has a not self theme that when you act on it creates frustration. So the not self of the open solar plexus is conflict avoidance, avoiding conflict at all costs, and sometimes feeling empty or overwhelmed. The freedom of the open solar plexus is I'm free to be emotionally neutral and tell the truth. Because oftentimes you will be emotionally neutral and you'll have access to the truth. But you could say the codependent version of you or the conditioned version of you will be so conflict averse that it won't be emotionally neutral and it won't tell the truth. It'll get very wrapped up in the emotions of the people around it.
Yeah.
Okay. So making choices for emotionally not advisable for this being. And then the number on the left is the personality conscious line, the 3. So we would say you have a third line personality. And to the right of the slash is the body unconscious line. So you have a 5th line body. So the 3-5 profile is like, what is the role I'm playing in the theater of life? Now notice we've all decided what we'd like to be cast as in life, right? We all have ideas. I am the blank. Sadly, or for better and worse, the universe has said, well, sorry, babe, actually you're a 3-5. So here's the role you've been cast in, okay? A third line personality, I have some notes here I'm going to refer to here. Just give me a second while I pull these up. Third line is a trial and error on the material plane personality. Mistakes and failures. The third line is very oriented toward itself. The third line is going to meet others by bumping into them. It isn't expecting them and it isn't looking for them. It just bumps into people. And another way to say this is the third line is iterative. It's doing different iterations. It's always trying things out. It's testing the foundations. It's experiencing what really works and what doesn't. It's mutative and adaptive. It's a yin line. So it's receptive. We say that third line is very creative because the third line is here to test, to figure out through iterations, trying this iteration, that iteration, what works and what doesn't. We say that a third line in the end of their life becomes an expert in what does not work, which is a really valuable expertise to have for humanity. You will have insights about everything that does not work because you will have tested all the foundations of reality. Iteration, iteration, iteration. Cass?
Just remind us what the first part and the second part, how that operates, the 3/5. I just didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. I just said it. So the line to the left is the conscious personality line, the conscious personality number. So Fontana's personality is a third line personality. She consciously has that personality. Her body, however, is doing 5th line stuff. Her unconscious body is a 5th line body. The 5th line is heretical. It doesn't go along with the promoted dogma. It says, hey, there's this universal principle that I have to call out, and I will be noticed for calling it out. And because they're a 5th line, they will be projected on as being heretical. The 5th line is the line that is called the savior heretic. So people project onto you first, no matter what you do, it's in your aura. Fontana is the savior. And then the minute you do anything that anyone else would do that would get like a slap on the wrist, they go, we exile her from the tribe. She's a heretic. So there can be a bit of an extreme set of projections on a 5th line body. She's the savior. Oh, we love her. She's everything. She's the answer. And then the second you're a human about something, they throw you out of the tribe. You're a heretic. We expect a 5th line to uphold something universal. You're highly idealized and there are high expectations around you. This is a dissonant profile, meaning your personality conscious mind 3, the third line, is dissonant with your 5th line body. They don't easily work together. So being creative and iterative and finding the foundations of reality and trial and error and making mistakes and learning what doesn't work is dissonant with being a 5th line body, we could say. So I'll put it to you another way. The 3rd line sees mostly what does not work. The 5th line is heretical. A lot of what they try will not work because of the 3rd and the 5th line element is outcast. So together, if you're working on what doesn't work and what is outcast, you see how that's a bit dissonant.
Mm-hmm.
You're likely to challenge things, not likely to pledge allegiance to things too soon. That happens usually much later in life. Commitments, allegiances, etc. They need to be loved through figuring out through trial and error what's true for them. Anarchists, not easy joiners, not easy followers, always making new mistakes and new discoveries, and we need to let them make their mistakes. This is how they grow. Mistakes are how the 3-5 learns, particularly the 3rd line.
Mm-hmm.
The 3-5 is involved in its own process. What they are able to externalize will happen, but it's not something they're looking for. They're not trying to externalize, but it can happen. There is energy to sustain the creative, iterative movement and trial and error. Great energy for creativity. Not so common for a 3-5 to be able to sustain a lifelong partnership. Movement and change and exploration is more important. It can have the theme or the keynote of greed, emotional hunger, mental hunger, physical hunger, hunger for exploration. They will regularly get expectations and projections on them in relationship. Lots of hopes and dreams and expectations around them. If they can be aware of that and communicate well around it, all can be well.
Holy moly. This is like astrology on fucking steroids.
You get it. Now you get it. That's what it is. It's like multi-dimensional astrology. No, it's wild, right?
And I feel like this is just the tip, right?
Because, yeah, there's a million things we haven't even talked about.
A million things. This is amazing. They're amazing. Wow.
So we'll let that trickle in. We'll let all that sit with you. Give it a few days. Sometimes the best thing to do is like ignore all of this, forget everything we said, listen back to the recording. Luckily, you're a fan, so you'll listen. And with human design, what I find more than any other system, for whatever reason, it's like if you listen to it 6 times, on the 6th time you'll be like, oh, and then it all goes click, 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 click.
I'm feeling so much love and relief. Like the whole thing about trial and error. Like at my age of 56. Hi, Cassidy. Like starting over again at my age. And yet I've learned so much from the mistakes and errors. Mostly in like not trusting my gut, not saying the things, not knowing that I can be challenging to people. Yeah, this is really, really beautiful.
I'm so glad to hear it.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Well, thanks for coming on. My hope is that, this helps with the going forward with whatever's next.
Yeah.
Decision making. What is the Fontana vehicle here for, et cetera, et cetera. You get the point.
I do. Love you. I love you.
Love you.
Love you right back. Should talk soon.
Yeah, we're going to float on a river soon.
Yeah, we will. And I need to see you in person, both of you.
Sounds good.
Bye. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye, Fontoozy. That was cool.
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like when we do human design. My only problem is I get a little distracted because then you start telling me about something and be like, oh, I want to look at that too while you're talking about it. And which is probably why I missed the reminder of what the 2 sides of the slash is.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'm always like, I still have like, really? In my, there's that little brain going, come on. But then it's super fucking interesting and gets into it.
Yeah, well, we should do a review of your chart. I can say more stuff about it and we can see if it's resonating more fully now or not.
Yeah. And we've spent some good amount of time on my chart and I appreciate that. But yeah, and I'm always happy. Hey, I'm always happy to muck around in my records and my chart because I get fucking juicy stuff every time. So love you.
All right. Well, East Bay reunion. It's happened.
Soon stirs. Okay. Let's talk.
I'm taking you to Bardo.
Have fun with our friend tomorrow.
I will. And we're going to eat Brussels sprouts and drink sparkling water.
I'm not supposed to eat Brussels sprouts because of who?
God damn it.
The goddamn fucking mystic.
God damn it.
The food intuitive took Brussels sprouts away from me.
Wow.
I have free will, but I imbibed. So.
Rock on. Okay, I love you. Do
Love
your work,
you.
okay?
Go
Bye.
move some energy. Bye.
What are you asking for? All of the answers? Say what? All of the answers? Yeah, all the answers.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us with your questions so that we have questions to answer in the Akashic Records. Our email address is allanswerspod@gmail.com. That's allanswerspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find us on Facebook or Twitter, it's @allanswerspod, @allanswerspod. Thank you.
You want to be president? Let me tell you the first rule of politics. Always know if the juice is worth the squeeze. You know what that means?
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.
It means you don't steal my girl unless you're ready to accept the consequences.